So my goal with this video is to showcase some of the best games Google Stadia has to offer, even with being on the cusp of getting a ton of new excellent AAA titles coming in 2020. I wanted to make what I think is the top 10 games currently on Stadia for those really wanting to get an idea of what this cloud platform has to offer, and potentially what games to aim for future sales, or if you're just wondering what's good if you're brand new or you're already on the platform looking for your next investment. With that said, subscribe to this channel for all your cloud gaming needs and Stadia information. But let's start this video with Doom Eternal, which is arguably one of the best games Stadia has gotten today, and it's one of the newer titles on this list. And man, it's a heck of a game. The gameplay is some of the fastest that I've ever experienced. This game's also one of the hardest I've ever played. You're going to be dying a lot in this game. Now, the campaign mode is where this game really shines, pulling off combos to take out enemies, having to always be aware of your surroundings. But to top that all off, it has some of the best visuals Stadia has to offer, mixed with some really immersive audio. The sound that you get when chainsawing a demon is so satisfying. Doom Eternal easily makes this list without even breaking a sweat, and is probably one of the absolute top games, period, on Stadia. With Assassin's Creed Valhalla making its way into our living rooms this year, Odyssey is still one of the best open world titles to have come out in the past few years. It's a game featuring a big open world, freedom to live out those gladiator dreams, and this has been said many times by many people that it might be the best Assassin's Creed title in the entire franchise, and I would have to agree. Now, the story elements in this game do have some awesome moments. The combat is a lot of fun, and there is potentially hundreds of hours that you can pour into this game. This was an easy choice for the top 10 game on Stadia and is #1 for a lot of people. If you haven't checked this one out, do yourself a favor and give it a look. The Borderlands franchise always seems to get one thing right more than any other game, and it has now become a trend in most of these games today, and that is, in my opinion, Borderlands 3 is one of the best looter shooters, period, as well as the Borderlands franchise. You're always farming for that perfect gun, you always keep coming back for more, but what Borderlands 3 does more than just have that fantastic loot is also have fantastic gunplay as well. Now, the story here is not super great, and it never really is with a Borderlands franchise. Of course, it's always funny and it has its moments, but the gun gameplay is some of the best, mixed with the ability to build a unique character through the skill tree, and you have a perfect formula for a game that will steal many hours of your life. You're just exploring and hunting down that loot. Borderlands 3 is easily one of my top 5, forget top 10, and I absolutely recommend this one if you haven't jumped into it yet. Now, I fully admit that Destiny 2 is typically not my cup of tea, but I can't deny how the game has made its impact in gaming the past few years. Now, it's guilty of not being the best at anything it really does, but being great at almost all of its mechanics. From the gameplay and the gunplay standpoint, the customization with the loot and the dungeon and raids just being plain fun to experience, as well as the great audio and visuals on Stadia, this one makes really one of the best all-around total packages, even if it doesn't excel at any one aspect. Destiny 2 easily makes this list, even if it's on the back end of the top 10. If I were to tell you that I'm not into racing games, but there's one game that has brought me to the dance and has ignited my love for them, it's gonna be Grid on Stadia. The realistic racing mixed with some great visuals on the platform make for some really fast gameplay and some of the most I've had on Stadia, plus mixed with a single player that is enjoyable, spanning multiple seasons and races with an AI nemesis system that will literally throw you off the track. It makes even the repeats of races really unique. Not only that, but the multiplayer is something unique that no other platform is offering, and that is the 40 car player races that have been chaotic and fun to do on a weekly basis. This game will always have a special place in my heart and deserves, in my opinion, to be a top 10 game on Stadia. Mortal Kombat 11 is yet another game in a genre that I have never cared for, but special titles do special things, and maybe even someone like myself getting into one of literally my least favorite types of games in fighting games does something special with a really fun story mode that even the most casual skilled player can enjoy. The animations are absolutely brutal and satisfying, and it's really something typical that you enjoy in a Mortal Kombat title. But one thing that stands out to me are the visuals, and it really brings this game to another level. I haven't even touched on all the modes this game has to offer, all that multiplayer goodness this has in terms of the couch co-op. This is a true gem, and it's easily one of the best fighting games on Stadia and worthy of the top 10 in my opinion. So if you guys were to look up the one game where I put the most amount of hours into, and it's not even close, it's going to show one title: Red Dead Redemption 2 on Stadia, and for good reason. The game just has it all: a huge open world to explore, great visuals, immersive gameplay, and a story that will have you wanting to see it to the end. Red Dead is a title that would easily make my top 3 list, forget the top 10, and there is just an insane amount of content. You can spend 100 hours on the story gameplay, jump into the multiplayer, and drop another couple hundred, as that portion of the game is its own beast. And even on Stadia, you have full lobbies to enjoy with others, hunting down bad guys for bounties, robbing trains, taking down full posses. I mean, this is just an ongoing experience, and it's a title that is receiving updates for a while. If you guys haven't checked out Red Dead Redemption 2 on Stadia, you're absolutely missing out, as it's absolutely one of my favorite titles and one of the ones that I enjoy the most, so definitely give this one a look. Now, The Division 2 might actually be the best game on this list according to quite a few people, because it really brings everything together and it showcases what Stadia is capable of. It has some of the better visuals on Stadia, features full stream connect and crossplay, and well, it's just a great game. It also features excellent missions to dive into solo or in a group, and an open world that has you hunting down bounties and doing a lot of other cool stuff. It has full-fledged loot hunting, raids for those who are really dedicated to tackle the game's hardest missions. There is literally an endless amount of things you can do in this game, including a full-fledged dark zone with intense player versus player scenarios. This is one of those games that I've poured the most hours into on Stadia, and it easily makes my top 3 yet again for the full package of a game that you get here on this cloud platform, from the Stadia specific features as well as the crossplay that is enabled. I absolutely highly recommend Division 2 if you haven't already dived into this one. Ghost Recon Breakpoint was the first title to showcase Stream Connect on Stadia and really the first to showcase what this platform can do. Now visually, it's not the best title on Stadia, but the game itself is really detailed in its environment, and it has a pretty massive open world that would really take a long way to get anywhere without a vehicle. Now the gunplay is excellent, and it does feature a skill tree and loot that you can go after, so you're always having something to work towards too. Now the game is a bit of a downgrade in my opinion from the previous iteration in Wildlands, but it's still a solid addition to the Tom Clancy franchise. And if you're looking for that old school feel and something more immersive, you can play the hardcore difficulty where it turns off your HUD, there's no gear level, and you even lose ammo on reload and a lot more. The game does have a lot to offer, but this is easily on my bottom top 10 list, and it is even debatable if it should even be here. But I still think it's a solid game and one that you should try out, especially if you see a sale. Now the last game on this list that I saved as my surprise top 10, and I think it's one that a lot of you won't see coming, it's OCTOPATH Traveler, a game that released on Stadia with not much fanfare or really conversation. It's a solid, deep, full RPG that Stadia in my opinion is lacking at the moment. But what makes this onto my top 10 list on Stadia is for quite a few reasons. One, it's being that it's just a good, wonderful RPG experience, but because also it's one of the most friendly mobile games on the platform and can easily be played with touch controls. Now the game itself features 8 different stories, 8 different adventures that you can dive into. The lore in this game and story content is really rich. If you guys don't mind reading and really immersing yourself in a story, you guys will really enjoy it. Now the combat is old school, tactical turn-based jump, but it's deep enough to really appreciate. The visuals and animations in this game are really pretty. This is a JRPG that in my opinion does need a little bit more love on Stadia, and one that I hope a few more people get to experience at some point down the line. But with all that said though, while these are my top 10 games on Stadia, this list will not even come close to what it would really look like by the end of 2020. So many games are coming, so many to look forward to, but despite the games coming in 2020 and beyond, there is still a solid mix of games currently that really do showcase what a cloud platform like Stadia has to offer. With that said, please let me know what are your top 10 games on Stadia, what did I miss on this list, and feel free to say that I have it all wrong and that I'm an idiot. Subscribe to this channel for more awesome Stadia and cloud gaming content. I'm Sunny, and I'll see you guys in the cloud.